does have one Colossus coming out. The only upgrade he has is this extended thermal lance, which is actually really good for Colossus. It's almost imperative that you get that extended thermal lance. Otherwise, they're so close when they fight that they're really easy to be taken out by Marauders and Marines. And meanwhile, for Isskincom, no upgrades on his mech. And as for his infantry, it looks like he's got +1 armor. Not sure why he doesn't have +1 weapons. Looks like +1 weapons is just now being researched. And it looks like the Immortal's getting dropped off in the middle of the map, going to pick off another scouting SCV. We've seen actually quite a few SCVs being moved out by Isskincom, and a Terran player can afford to do that since they have mules. Looks like the Warp Prism continuing to kind of move about, but the cool thing for Isskincom is he's got that sensor tower. He sees when the Warp Prism is coming in, so he's able to kind of get his units in position and act accordingly. It looks like missile turrets also defending the perimeter for Isskincom, so even though this Warp Prism Immortal push hasn't really done that much damage, I think that it's forced Isskincom to kind of stay in his base, play really defensively, and force him to waste a couple hundred minerals on these missile turrets as well. So it's keeping Isskincom back, but finally Isskincom getting those dropships out, and quite a large army as well, I might say, is going to start pushing on. He's going to kill off this proxy pylon too. And now it's time to stop with the harass, I think, and get your army ready for the big battle ahead. Another option that Gerper has is to engage and then kind of drop these Immortals off behind the mineral line, try to do like a distracting attack at the same time. But it looks like he's going to get his whole army together here, and they are going to engage. Siege tanks sieging up. Taking a look at both players' APM, very high. We just saw our Protoss player spike up to 350 APM. That is absolutely insane. So much APM from a Korean player here. And we're seeing some dancing from Isskincom. He can dance around as long as he stays in range of this blue line, and the Colossus there getting a bit extended over range. Those siege tanks really demolish Colossus. And Isskincom showing us how to play Terran mech is establishing a fortified position, frontal position, right in front of the Protoss player. Protoss player is squeezed in right now. And Gerper is going to have to make something happen. Oh, this observer is going to get taken out. It's got to be careful there. And it looks like we're still seeing dancing going on back and forth. Terran player at 1-1 upgrades. Protoss player is still at 0-0. But his Colossus do have the extended thermal lance. And now Isskincom, not sure why he's falling back with his siege tanks and armies. No, he's actually going to try to do some kind of a drop here with his infantry, and he's going to fall back with his siege tanks so they don't get overrun while he's going for this attack. And he is going to kill off this Colossus, picks it off right when it comes out of the robotics facility. He's going to kill off one robotics facility as well. He's going to kill off 2 facilities, and then he's going to get out of there. One dropship going down. Is this dropship going to get? Yeah, another dropship going down. So both players taking heavy casualties, but I think Gerper might have taken the heavier hit there, losing both of his robotics facilities as well as a Colossi. That is a big hit. It's going to delay those Colossus that much longer, and he's not going to be able to build up a large Colossus strike force. Looks like he does also have his forges out, but no upgrades being researched. So right now Gerper might want to think about making some kind of a counterattack after that push. And looking at both players' army, 134 for the Terran, 138 for the Protoss. Both players almost dead even. Income dead even as well on 2 bases for each. And it's still way too close to call. We are seeing the ghosts finally coming out. And no, that is probably not for Nuke, I would imagine. Trying to find the ghost silo, yeah. Not researching anything in the Ghost Academy, but the important thing is ghosts have the EMP shockwave now. And if you're going for siege tanks as a Terran player, very important to have that EMP shockwave ready on those Immortals. This observer just saw all these siege tanks and Marauders moving in to take out these rocks. And we are seeing a counter movement response from Gerper. Gerper moving in here with his Stalkers, Colossus, Sentries, and Zealots. And a Comsat goes down. I think this Comsat does have enough range to see these armies going in. We are seeing the siege tank siege up here, and Gerper sees that with his observer. He's launching his Guardian Shield, reducing all range damage by 2. We do see the EMP shockwave go off right there. Couple of EMP shockwaves. And we are seeing some Vikings trying to get in position over the high ground to snipe out some of the Colossus. And I think right now Gerper might be in a little bit of trouble. He is forced to fall back. Really cannot engage the infantry when they are protected by the siege tanks, because the Colossus will just get hammered, as well as the Vikings kind of hammering on the Colossus overhead on this high ground as well. Isskincom there playing very well. And I gotta say, the one difficult thing about playing Terran mech, and I've tried mech countless times in Starcraft 2, is the positioning of your siege tanks. It's very difficult to position your siege tanks in the way that makes them safe. They have to be behind your infantry, protected from damage, and still be able to kind of range and do damage. So it's really hard to get the positioning correct, and that's really the most difficult thing about playing Terran Mech, and why Marine Marauder M&M is so much more popular, because it's so much more mobile. But a player that can control his siege tanks well and position them well is a very deadly threat indeed, as this Korean player Isskincom is showing us right now. And you guys can see on this overlay right here, he's got his siege tanks grouped up in a second hotkey. Very good. A lot of times players will group up everything. We just saw a huge EMP shockwave go off right there. This Immortal has no shields. A lot of Zealots and Stalkers there with no shields as well. Right now it's Iskincom's chance to push in, because he did get a huge EMP off right there. Oh, his positioning of his siege tanks a little bit out of position, getting them a little bit in the front there, sieging up a little bit out of position, and finally getting his Marauders and Marines in there. We also saw a couple more EMPs going off there, I believe. And there, as you guys saw, force fields going down there, as you guys saw, is why playing mech is so difficult. The positioning of those tanks really bad right there by Isskincom. Really a bit of mismanagement, and that cost him dearly, losing about 3 or 4 tanks. And so right now, our Protoss player in a pretty good position. He's got a lot of Colossus. He's also at 1 armor, 1 weapons. Finally, infantry at 1 armor, 2 weapons. They are going to destroy these rocks. Going to allow the Terran player to kind of sneak in here, should he choose to. But looks like the Protoss player, not going to allow that to happen, is going to engage, and he's going to demolish this entire Terran army. So many Colossus there, and there are no Vikings to deal with that. Everything gets wiped out, and right now Gerper in a very powerful position. Here's his opportunity to go down and take out this bottom right-hand corner expansion, and there's nothing in the Terran army arsenal to stop this. Terran army at 104 supply, Gerper at 130, and we're seeing a massive attack here on this command center. Meanwhile, it looks like we're seeing 2 dropships moving across the map right here, so Isskincom trying to do a kind of a distraction tactic. We're also seeing SCVs desperately trying to repair the planetary fortress. Fortress goes down, and right now the dropships are dropping off the Marauders and Marines on this Nexus, but we are seeing units warping in thanks to pylon power, and oh wow, we are seeing the majority of Gerper's forces falling back. Bad idea by Gerper, I think. He had the opportunity there to go and end this game, go attack the natural expansion. But unfortunately, Isskincom playing so well here distracted Gerper by just using a measly 2 dropships. He might lose both of these dropships, but I gotta say, that saved him the game right there. If he had not attacked with those 2 dropships, this entire Protoss army would not be defending this expansion. It would have been attacking the natural, and that could have very well been GG. And Isskincom playing so well, distracting with those 2 dropships up at the top corner, forced all of these armies to fall back after they sniped this planetary fortress. I think that might have bought Isskincom the time he needed to macro up his army again. And looking at their supply, it is 116 over Gerper, which is at 137, so he does have a decent army yet coming back up again. Isskincom right there saving his own ass, so to say, and getting back in this game. And now he's actually floating out this main command center, because he is completely mined out. He has no gas at all at this main base, and he's actually starting to get mined out of minerals at the natural as well. Isskincom desperately trying to get this expansion back up and running, and he barely has enough money to get a command center down as it is. Looks like meanwhile he's establishing this forward position. He might be interested in grabbing this expo as well. Protoss player still mining out of 2 bases, so it's 2 bases to 1, but this one's about to run out, and so Terran player is in a very bad position. Income showing Protoss player way ahead, 1500 over 1000, 500 over 200, and Isskincom here in a very bad position. And he's gonna try to establish some kind of a forward position here. Gerper just has a very threatening force of Stalkers and Colossus. I'm not sure why he hasn't gotten more Zealots. Zealots with charge are pretty good against siege tanks, I think. And his army right now is almost fully comprised of Stalkers and Colossus. It does make them kind of weak against siege tanks. I would expect Gerper to eventually get Blink. Blink makes Stalkers so much better when engaging siege tanks. They can blink right under the siege tanks, and they can also blink to catch Vikings as well. So we might see Gerper try to get Blink sooner or later. He's also got his own gold expansion very happily mining right now. We are seeing income starting to match up for the Terran player as he's finally saturated this gold base, bringing over all of his SCVs over, also getting the gas up and running as well. So Isskincom looking to be a bit more powerful. And looking at the production tab, we do have a mothership coming out. So a fleet beacon and a mothership coming out. This is a huge investment for the Protoss player, very expensive. He's also got another level of weapons coming as well. This mothership could be the defining unit, the game-changing unit for Gerber, and I think he's just kind